Hey guys, just to preface this video, this is kind of a crude drawing of the slip-ons that I'm going to be working with. As you can see, I've drawn kind of a cut line here. They have a bracket that runs in the center of these slip-ons, and so I am going to be cutting just behind that bracket and just taking off any of this excess in the end here. From all the research that I've done online, from all the information I've been able to gather on these, there's a baffle that just sits on the inside. It's kind of press fit on both ends, and so it's like a factory closed thing where this can never be removed. It's surrounded with it's packed in with fiberglass, and so what I want to do is I'm just going to be cutting down that line, popping this end portion off, hopefully sliding the baffle out that's press fit on this end, and then I shone a light down inside the slip-on. And I noticed that there's kind of this blockage in the center of that baffle, and so it's about halfway down. So what I'm going to do is that once I slide that out, I'm just going to cut them and trim them right up to the end of where that blockage is, just to make sure there's appropriate back pressure in the pipe. Didn't really like the way that my exhaust sounded. It was really bound up, and I didn't have a lot of good flow. And so, like most things with my Dyna, I'm getting to the point now where it's like, why not just fuck around and try to make your own? You know, I'm not going to be spending thousands of dollars trying to get an exhaust system that I need when I have perfectly good headers that are off a Fat Boy. I really like the way that like the Peekaboo heat shields look, but I don't like the slip-ons. The ones I had on, like, they sound like ass. You know, they just, the flow's not great, and you can tell. So I'm gonna open that up and augment them a little bit and hopefully get a better sound with it. I have the pipes and I've cut them down, and so they were both at length and cut uniformly. I used the same chop saw that I used for exhaust segments, and so chopped those off, pulled all the stuffing out of them, as you can see inside. Just a straight pipe right now, and then I also have the baffles over here that I've cut down to the appropriate size, and so they're just going to get inserted back in there, and everything will be mounted up on the bike, and so I can kind of figure out where the brackets are going to be and how I can make a bracket for this. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take some of this JB Weld muffler seal and then just around the end of this guy, and what that'll do is it'll cement it in place, and that JB Weld just holds that baffle. Like, it already has a press fit, and so I just press fit it in, but then what that does is it just ensures that there's no like wiggle that won't come out of there, and that there's a positive seal around there so that everything works properly inside the pipe. So this takes a couple hours to set up, and I'll probably use my hammer to just also like tap the baffle in once it's seated, just so I get that full press fit. There, squished it down inside there. I found right where it indexed properly, and then I'm just going to take a small peening hammer and a block of wood. So yeah, so the baffle is impregnated back inside there, and I checked before and loose fitted, mock fitted everything up, and really liked the sound. The engine sounded way happier. It didn't sound as bound up as when I was running my previous exhaust, which sucked. Made the bike sound like shit. I really realized that once I started kind of opening up and playing with these. I played around with a couple different things that I thought might make them flow a little bit better. But you know, still, the bike didn't sound like it was getting any reversion problem or anything like that. There was no fluttering sounding out of the engine. It was just running strong. Some chopper shit. They're gonna look dope. I think like in 2 hours once these set up, I'll get everything mocked up on the bike and I'll show you guys done. There we go. Found Bushy index. Tap her in the back. One of my favorite parts about watching some of the guys that you can find on YouTube is just their skills on just randomly fabricating and building stuff in order to meet their needs. And so I really tried to do that in this scenario when I made the bracket and the spacers and the mount for the exhaust. So I did end up having to modify a mounting bracket. For right now, this one will do. I think I'm gonna probably go with something that fits a little bit more flush mount. I took all my measurements and stuff, and so I kind of have customized a bracket that I had in order for it to work. And so yeah, it's connecting to both pipes. Both pipes have a good spacing. They're on there nice and solid. They look phenomenal on the bike, and they sound even better. In order to get everything perfect, I drew up, of course, a diagram, made up a paper template, popped it on the bike, and then from here there went with kind of mocking up like a bracket that works. I used a pre-existing bracket. I drilled some more holes in it. I threw some spacers in just to like find where the pipes were perfect on there. So if you can notice, like, the space in between them was perfect here. I wanted to make sure that they were locked into place, that they were sitting comfortably so they weren't stressing the headers or anything like that. By the way, these Peekaboo headers are off 2009 Fat Boy. And then, of course, these are the modded slip-ons that I did. They look pretty on there. I think I'm going to powder coat these black, but for now, just for fitting purposes and stuff, of course, they're just staying chrome. So super happy. Obviously, I saved myself a considerable amount of money and cut a whole bunch of weight, and that's chopper shit. I just kind of started from an idea, and I thought, hey, you know what? I think that maybe I can make this work. Maybe with a little fine tuning, it can be something cool. It might sound cool, and it sounds cool. Very stoked. Yep, pretty stoked.